Aloha nerds, and welcome back to the Salawag's Why It's Great. I'm your host, the Salawag, and on this show I discuss the filmmaking techniques and storytelling choices that make my favorite films great. I wanted to do a little something different with the opening of this show. In these times, people are scared of politics and all that, and I don't even know where to start. I literally don't know because I don't watch the news. I think people in general want to do some good. So, if you're trying to do something good and you kind of just don't know where to go or where to start, I think what I'd like to do with this show is give you a different option. Week by week, with every episode, I'll tell you about something that maybe you don't know exists. So, I live in San Francisco, born and raised, and while I was in college, I worked on this music video called Donate to the Family House. It was directed by my friend David Lynham, who worked with his incredible cinematography crew, who we worked on a few shorts before that. But Bobby Thomas was the guy who made the song and was performing it. And it turned out he wasn't just making this song for the family house, but he was also a volunteer who dressed up as a bunny, and the donations he would bring to the various kids and give them comfort and support. It's a really sort of great place. So I actually finally made my first donation last month. I just had some toys unopened. I brought them in, and that was my first good contribution to anything. But if you're sort of just looking for somewhere to sort of support or sort of do something good with your spare change, then maybe that's a place you can start. So here I made a little brief clip of the music video, and I just want to show you that. I'll just show you that now. So
to the family house. Donate to the family house. The children are for the reason and more to give them support to live.
Well, I'm Bobby the Easter Bunny, and I'm here to collect money and toys, if you please, for kids with disease. Indeed, let me tell you how. Donate
to the family house. Donate to the family house. Never too late to do something great, so don't hesitate to give. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Bobby the Easter Bunny. This is Braden, and this is Ashley. Every year, I put on this bunny suit, and with the help of your donations, of money and or new toys, I provide happiness and smiles to children with cancer and other life-threatening illnesses. The Family House is a nonprofit organization here in San Francisco, and they provide housing for children with these illnesses and their families. If you want to learn more about this organization, just go to www.familyhouseinc.org, click on Bobby the Bunny, and make a donation. A donation of any size, any amount. It's never too late to do something great. So don't hesitate to donate to the Family House. Bye.
How can we stand in the light of discovery and not act?
Oh, what's so great about discovery? It's a violent, penetrative act that scars what it explores, what you call discovery. I call the rape of the natural world.
Plot versus story. What's the difference? Plot, typically an external objective or goal. Story, typically an internal issue or conflict that must be resolved. So the plot of Jurassic Park really starts with the opening scene. Everyone who watches it typically thinks, wow, amazing sequence. Workers try to bring in a velociraptor and he eats one of them and it's horrible. But plot-wise, this is a very significant scene because that worker is killed, investors for Jurassic Park want to pull their money out of the island, basically leaving Richard Attenborough's character, John Hammond, in massive debt. So that scene is critical to why the whole entire movie happens. John Hammond wouldn't have gone to meet Alan Grant or Ellie Sattler unless that worker had been killed in the opening of that movie. And it's also very important to note that he doesn't tell Alan Grant, Ellie Sattler, or Ian Malcolm, he doesn't tell any of them that workers have died already. He just tells them that, investors are having some kind of technical concern about the park, and it'd be great if you just look at it and tell them it's fine, And, he's a good salesman. He convinces them that nothing's wrong with the island. So very critical plot information right there. And to add to that, that really makes John Hammond the antagonist of the movie. Because he essentially lures all these people to his island with deception and tells them that his island is safe so that they can lie to his investors and say that it's safe. So it's important to understand that each part of the movie does move the story and plot forward. And there is a story, but I'm going to get to that in the next video. As the movie goes on, we see Dennis Nedry, played by Wayne Knight. He meets up with a secret agent man, a CEO from a competing company with John Hammond's company, who essentially gives him a little gadget to store dinosaur DNA so that Nedry can smuggle the DNA out of the island and this other company can get ahead in 10 years worth of research. And we don't know why he's doing it. It's hinted that there's some kind of difficulty with his pay, like he's not being paid enough. And later on we do get a scene, an actual character interaction, where John Hammond and Dennis Nedry are fighting over his pay. It's never declared exactly what happened, but we understand that the pay was somehow severely lower than it should have been. And especially considering that this character had not only runs the computers for the entire island, but literally built the entire system himself. I mean, with the help of engineers and scientists, all that, but he was the brain behind making it all automated throughout the park. And because he was so severely paid, plot information and character backstory, because of that, he decided to take it out on the old man and smuggle his stuff so they can make a ridiculous amount of money for being a thief. And why am I telling you that? Why am I telling you that? The movie goes on, dinosaurs break out because Dennis Nedry turns off all the security so that no one can see him try to break out of the park with the dino DNA. So again, without those scenes building up, we wouldn't get to understand why the park is actually shutting down. And it's a little bit of espionage, it's a little bit of science fiction, sort of talking about how people behave in society in a futuristic scenario. All of that's there, but also it's critical to the plot. Like, it doesn't exist without the function of serving the rest of the movie. And ultimately, on Dennis Nedry's way to getting off the island with the DNA, he gets blindsided by the weather, and he goes off and careens into one of these sites for the dinosaurs, and it ends up being the Dilophosaurus. And it's a creepy little scene. The way they shoot it is beautiful. but essentially it's one of the most haunting, brutal deaths in the movie. But again, not just there to horrify you, but it's significant to the plot. You know, when the whole park goes down, it was always Dennis Nedry's plan to come back to his computer and turn all the power back on. And he specifically made the virus so that only he could decrypt it and fix it. But he had never intended to get killed, and he had always thought he would get back before anyone would notice anything seriously goes wrong. So his death is critical in the plot, because now it means that the characters have no choice but to go to extreme measures to restore power to the island. So that's really the plot. I mean, can you pick that out of Jurassic Park 3? Does Jurassic Park 3 have a plot that is really driven by character motivations? I mean, there's sort of a character motivation in William H. Macy and Téa Leoni wanting to get their son back, but it's so flimsy it doesn't hold a 90-minute premise. It could hold easily a 30-minute premise and be twice as interesting. And Jurassic World as well, I mean, you have a superhero dinosaur, which is excessive, it's unnecessary. And the Lost World Jurassic Park does a good job of trying to create a different plot. It's more of a redemption plot for John Hammond, that, you know, he created these things, he was irresponsible, now he wants to save them because he does respect these creatures as living beings and doesn't see them as monetary objects anymore. So that is significant. Even if you don't feel the movie's a quality movie, it still has a valid reason for existing. The intention of Jurassic Park is the Frankenstein story of watch what you create because you don't actually know what you're making. It could be bigger and more destructive than you could ever imagine, much like the Manhattan Project and all that. So that's really, I want to just get in the plot and explain why it was unique apart from the rest of the movies, and how individual scenes were actually crucial, not just for scaring you and sort of, oh yeah, that's the genre we're in, so that's why that's there. No, it's crucial plot information that without these events occurring, the movie doesn't work, and it doesn't make sense. So, yeah, some of these scenes come off as boring, but they're important in making you feel that terror when you do feel it. Because you get to know the person, you get to know their motivation, and they become a human being to you by the time they meet their demise or escape. And that's where the plot is necessary in sort of creating those scenarios for you. So that's the plot. Next I'm talking about story.